There are movies that simply entertain, and then there are movies that change the entire conversation. In 1974, one film dared to go where no mainstream cinema had gone before. It was elegant, mysterious, and scandalous, a movie that blurred the line between art and eroticism. That film was Emmanuelle, directed by Just Jaeckin and starring the unforgettable Sylvia Kristel. It wasn't just another adult movie, it was a cultural awakening. Emmanuelle became one of the most successful French films ever made, redefining how intimacy was portrayed on screen while opening doors for a new era of European erotic cinema. But behind the fame, the beauty, and the global success lies a story filled with censorship, battles, artistic rebellion, and personal sacrifice. This is the untold story of Emmanuelle 1974, the film that redefined cinema erotica forever. The early 70s were a time of transformation. The sexual revolution had reached its peak. Feminism was reshaping society, and audiences were craving something more honest, more emotional, and more real. Most adult films at the time were underground, often crude or sensationalized. But French cinema had a different tradition. Films like Last Tango in Paris and Belle de Jour had already started mixing sensuality with storytelling. Enter Just Jaeckin, a fashion photographer known for his refined eye and artistic vision. Jaeckin wanted to make a film about desire, but with taste, emotion, and visual poetry. His dream was to create what he called an erotic film that women could watch too. He discovered the novel Emmanuelle by Emmanuelle Arsan, a pseudonym for a real-life diplomat's wife from Thailand, Marayat Bibid, whose book had been banned in several countries for its daring honesty about female sexuality. Jaeckin saw the novel not as pornography, but as a story about freedom, exploration, and identity. Casting the lead role was crucial. The production team searched across Europe for the perfect actress, someone who could embody both innocence and liberation. Then came Sylvia Kristel, a two-year-old Dutch model who had never starred in a film before. Her natural beauty was effortless, understated, yet magnetic. When she auditioned, she barely spoke. But her calm presence and deep gaze convinced Jaeckin instantly. As he later said, she didn't need to act. She was Emmanuelle. Sylvia brought something completely new to cinema: vulnerability mixed with courage. She portrayed a woman discovering herself, emotionally and physically, but never losing her grace. Off camera, Sylvia was shy and unsure. The pressure was immense. The production demanded emotional openness and total trust between her, the director, and her co-stars. But Sylvia's quiet strength and authenticity gave the film a timeless quality. Her performance turned her into an international icon, the symbol of sensual sophistication. Filming Emmanuelle wasn't easy. Shot largely in Bangkok, Thailand, and Paris, it combined exotic beauty with European artistry. The tropical settings, soft natural light, and elegant cinematography gave it a dreamlike aesthetic that elevated it far above other films of its kind. Director Just Jaeckin insisted on artistic lighting, delicate framing, and emotional storytelling. He drew inspiration from fashion photography and French romantic cinema, ensuring that every scene felt painterly, not provocative. But the challenges were enormous. The film faced constant scrutiny from French censors, moral critics, and conservative audiences. Many cinemas refused to screen it, labeling it too daring for the general public. Yet that controversy only fueled curiosity. When Emmanuelle finally premiered in Paris in June 1974, it became a sensation. Crowds lined up around the block at the Champs-Élysées Theater, where it played continuously for over 13 years. Setting an unprecedented record in French cinema history. Emmanuelle wasn't just controversial, it was a financial miracle. Made on a modest budget of about $500,000, it went on to earn over $100 million worldwide, becoming one of the most profitable French films of all time. Its success transformed the international film market. It proved that erotic storytelling could be commercially successful when done with art and elegance. Major distributors from Japan to the United States raced to acquire the film, making it one of the first European erotic films to reach a global audience. In Asia, it was seen as a symbol of Western liberation. In America, it became a late-night cult favorite. The Emmanuelle brand spawned sequels, spin-offs, and even a television series in the 1980s and 1990s, keeping Sylvia Kristel's legacy alive for decades. The soundtrack, composed by Pierre Bachelet, also became iconic, soft, melodic, and unforgettable. Songs like Emmanuelle Theme gave the film a romantic, dreamlike identity that perfectly matched its tone. For Sylvia Kristel, fame was both a blessing and a curse. Overnight, she went from an unknown model to one of the most recognized faces in the world. But success came with a price. Sylvia struggled with typecasting, constantly associated with the sensual image of Emmanuelle. Despite working with acclaimed directors like Claude Chabrol and Francis Giraud, audiences and producers could never separate her from that chair, the rattan chair that became a global symbol of desire. Behind the glamour, Sylvia battled personal demons, failed relationships, financial hardship, and later, serious health issues. In her autobiography, Nude, Sylvia Kristel, she revealed the emotional toll of fame, confessing that she often felt trapped by her own image. Yet, even in her struggles, she remained proud. She believed that Emmanuelle gave women permission to explore their identity and sensuality without shame. When she passed away in 2012, tributes poured in from around the world, not just from fans, but from filmmakers, historians, and artists who saw her as a pioneer. 50 years later, Emmanuelle remains one of the most famous and debated films in history. It continues to be studied in film schools for its unique blend of eroticism, artistry, and social commentary. It inspired countless directors and became a touchstone for future generations, exploring romantic and sensual cinema from The Lover 1992 to 9.5 Weeks and beyond. The film's influence also extended to fashion and photography, shaping how sensuality was depicted in media. Even modern streaming platforms reference its legacy when discussing boundary-pushing cinema. In 2023, talks began for a modern reboot of Emmanuelle, with French producers aiming to reintroduce the story to a new generation, a testament to its timeless appeal. More than anything, Emmanuelle proved that erotic cinema didn't need to be vulgar to be powerful. It showed that beauty, atmosphere, and emotion could tell a deeper story, one that still resonates today. So when we look back at Emmanuelle 1974, we're not just talking about an erotic film. We're talking about a cultural milestone, a movie that celebrated the beauty of human emotion, female empowerment, and artistic freedom. It redefined what cinema could be: elegant, emotional, and daring, without ever crossing into vulgarity. Emmanuelle remains a timeless reminder that true sensuality isn't about what's shown on screen, it's about what's felt. If you love discovering the stories behind legendary films that changed cinema forever, hit that like, subscribe, and notification bell, because we have more iconic stories coming your way right here on Universal Desires. Drop a comment below. Which classic film should we uncover next? Your suggestion might appear in our next feature video.